Okay. So Jamie Morrison,
Okay.
Jayme Morrison, Morrison.
Okay, Jamie, look at me.
I was going to prior to the college soccer guide, we were piecing together information that we were soliciting from parents on sidelines and parents who have daughters who are either going through the process or have gone through the process. So I liken it to putting a jigsaw puzzle together with missing pieces of the puzzle. And so the college soccer guide has really helped us, my daughter and my husband and I, in providing a step-by-step with what you need to know at what stage in the recruiting process. So it's been a tremendous resource. It's helped us kind of plan a course of attack on this whole thing.
Wow.
Outside of the college soccer guide, there's just the unknown. And as you're piecing information together, there's anxiety in that because, again, if you don't have the full story or you don't know what needs to be happening when, it creates anxiety, it creates stressful situations, and you ask yourself questions like, are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Are we falling behind? Should we be doing more? Are we going to miss out on opportunities? So there's a great deal of anxiety in the unknown.
Right. So
it's interesting because parents ask me now all the time questions about what are you doing and what's happening with your daughter. And it's difficult for me to download everything that I've learned over the last course of a year, not to mention everything I still don't know and haven't learned. So I refer them to the college soccer guide because it's going to give them far more than I know, and it's going to map it out for them versus giving them little bits of information, in between goals and halftime. They can actually sit down as a family and they can work through all the different stages within the program. So the college soccer guide for a player who has a desire to play competitive soccer in college, it's really a roadmap, right? How do you start that process? When do you start that process? It is a kind of one-stop source that provides step-by-step instruction. So if you're an 8th or a 9th grader, what should you be thinking about? What should you be doing? If you're a 10th grader, what's happening now in the process? And so it literally walks you through the process, kind of holds your hand in a way.
I have an older daughter that we started using the college soccer guide and started helping. It made the process later on in her career, if you will, easier. And you're like, because the way you said that first, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had this earlier, now we're implementing it.
Right. With my older daughter, who's starting the process now, I feel like we're jumping in a little bit in the middle. Now that we have the college soccer guide, as I think about this for my younger daughter, we're going to approach it entirely differently. So everything that I've learned on my older daughter, we're going to now be able to apply, and my younger daughter will benefit from that. Being a 16-year-old and having a conversation with a college coach can be very intimidating. So the college soccer guide also helped prepare my daughter. It has in there a list of questions that you may be asked by a college coach. What are they interested in knowing about you as a person, as a student, as a player? And then also having in your arsenal a few questions that you can ask of them, because eventually it comes down to the dreaded question of, so do you have any questions for me, or do you have any questions for us? And you don't want to have that blank stare. So she was prepared with questions and thoughtful questions about things she truly wanted to know, and she didn't suffer from the stage fright, if you will.
Yeah.
One of the key benefits in the early stages of the college soccer guide is to help the player narrow and target which colleges are best suited to them based upon what their goals are. And otherwise, you're sending communications to any and everyone, and it becomes truly overwhelming. So I mentioned earlier with my second daughter, we're going to do something very different. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the tips and the tools that are provided in the college soccer guide to really hone in on the schools that are the best fit for her based upon what her desired goals are. No, now she's starting, so my younger one is now starting to determine what are her criteria. So what is it that she likes in a school? What is it that she wants? What does she want to do later in life? What type of soccer does she want to be playing? So those are the things that she's starting to think about now that will be critical for her to target. My older daughter, right? She started, I think, her search a little broader, and then we quickly learned that we need to define those criteria so she can target the schools and determine if there's a mutual interest. And so we're in that process now, and she's having a lot of conversations with different colleges, and she's learning about them and determining if it's a good fit between she and the school and she and the coach.
How about who knows? Yeah.
Right, so the College Soccer Guide gives tips on how to set up your profile, what type of information to include in your profile. We also have her academic goals in her profile, a little bit about kind of her personality and who she is, and then also what her goals are for soccer. Of course, it has a lot of the awards that she's won and tournaments and championships that she's won and certain distinctions that she's earned. And we set up that profile for her, and it gets attached to every communication that she has with the coach, and that way they can always go back and learn more. It also gave us the tip that we should include a photograph of her so that when they're seeing communications, college coaches get hundreds and hundreds of letters from prospective players and students, and so how does your communication rise to the top, or how do you get that immediate, recognition? So what goes in the subject line is very important, and then also having a photograph of yourself in those communications also helps, because there was no College Soccer Guide resource. And that's also something interesting. Once my daughter got to a certain age, we started getting a lot of offers through email from various sources promising to get our daughter on the radar of different coaches, or get her profile seen, or build a profile here. And of course, all for a fee, and you could spend a lot of money going out and taking up all these offers and really not make any progress at all. So the College Soccer Guide approaches it differently, right? It's not a substitute for the work. And so I think that's another big learning. It is a lot of work, and it's a commitment, and the player and the parents have to be motivated. And if they are, then everything that you need to know is provided in the College Soccer Guide. So what the College Soccer Guide has done for us is it's saved us a lot of time. It saved us a lot of heartache. It saved us a little bit of sanity, and I think in the long run it's going to definitely save us money as well. And so I think that the College Soccer Guide is well worth the investment.
So
coaches have told us that if a player has a desire to play at a collegiate level, there is a place for every player. And if you believe that, then the next question is, how do we learn about these opportunities? Where do we find these schools? How do we communicate with them? And again, the College Soccer Guide provides that roadmap for you, and how to identify those opportunities and what's the right opportunity, whether it's a Division I, Division II, or even a Division III school. Right? There's a home for every player if they know what it is that they want, and the College Soccer Guide program helps them come to that realization. The College Soccer Guide is a one-stop shop that goes even further, and that it lays it out, literally the process step by step, all the way through your negotiations, and then what happens after you've verbally committed, all the way up to signing.
So, repeat what I'm going to say and then finish the sentence.
If you have a son or daughter who has a desire to play college soccer, the College Soccer Guide is their best friend. It puts all the information that they need to know to begin organizing their approach to the recruiting process in one place. It puts it right at their fingertips.
Awesome.
So the College Soccer Guide has credibility with me, not just because Carlos is my daughter's coach, but more importantly because he is someone who's actually lived and experienced the entire process, and he's committed his career to doing this and helping other players achieve their goals as well. He knows the college coaches, he is in contact with them regularly, and he's took the initiative to take all of his knowledge and know-how and put it all into one place.
Soccer Guide that we didn't really cover that any parent would be important for them to know?
Yeah, I think that the recruiting process can be intimidating, and it does seem overwhelming, and just the prospect of sitting down and logging on to the college soccer guide sometimes can seem a big, undertaking.
Right.
But just sitting down, working through the program, we sat down our first time and we ended up sitting there for at least an hour to an hour and a half, just exploring all the different resources and putting bookmarks everywhere so that we could go back and visit those when we got to that stage in the process. So I would just encourage parents, just sit down, log in, get a nice cup of coffee and, and learn.